Welcome everyone to the Young Professional African Collective, also known as YPAC. I'm your host, Eberichi Obwaku, and I want to welcome you to YPAC. I talk to people doing work on the African continent or work pertaining to the African continent. And today we have a very special guest with us, and I hope you stick around, you stay engaged, and make sure to ask some questions in the comments or in the inbox if you have any. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
My name is Peter Osarimen Ukhurebor.
I love it. And what part of the continent do you come from?
I'm Nigerian. Or what you call I'm Nigerian American.
Okay.
I'm West African, if I would call that in full.
Yeah. And then I know within Nigeria, there's so many different areas. So what part of Nigeria are you from?
I'm from the Niger Delta, Edo to be precise, Edo State. Asan by tribe, and that's what I call where I come from.
Yeah. So another thing that I like to just break the ice a little bit. Are there some songs or a song that kind of reminds you of a time, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, or maybe a time when you were in Edo State, or I don't know, any song that kind of really resonates with you?
That's a tough one. It's if I go back, let's say 10 years ago, I could maybe talk about some Bonner, maybe some of his songs back 10 years ago. It's actually I can't actually remember the name of the song, but I think it was a Bonner song, which was quite amazing, and it was just coming out right about then. So I love more of his music. I'm keen with Afrobeat a lot, and it's seen it evolve over the past 20 years, which is quite amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one of I think the first Burna Boy song that I heard was Tonight. It came around, I think I was my first year, second year of college, and it was like, oh, this is what we're on. So it was, a great trajectory just to see where he's gone, and just a fun introduction to seeing I think the foundation of how he came to be. I know he did previous work, but it was cool to see that and how it took off. So yeah, that's one of my favorite Burna Boy songs, Tonight. Well, great. So let's talk a little bit about your background. So it seems like you're interested and have expertise in tech and arts. So how do you even merge the two? How did that even start off?
So this started out when I was in GS3 or in high school back in Nigeria. So my elder brother then did a show. I was right around 14 or 13 or there about it, and that was my first intake to events, and I went on to the university to actually study geology all the way to a master's degree. But I had a keen interest when I was back in college that I wanted to tow a different path. I started modeling when I was back in the university, and I went into an advertising agency, and I saw the cats there had some pair of jeans and a pair of suit and a pair of Nikes on. I think I dig that, and that's how I started developing my interest in the creative space. And after I graduated from my first degree, I went into advertising school, and I started to become an art director, and it ended up becoming a copywriter at the end of the day with an advertising agency.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's so interesting. It's very different from geology. Do you use any of your geology background in anything you do?
Certainly not.
Okay, you never know. It could pop up.
Yeah. It's college was quite interesting because it always gives you a framework of exactly how you can explore your mind into different things that you want to go into, specifically when you are deviating from what you studied, because most of the people I met within those agencies were never did what they studied in school.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's all about creativity and a creative mind and how to explore it.
Hmm. So what's a? I think you said after you graduated, you went into an agency. How was that for you? Like, how was that transition, and like, how did you even like think like, okay, this is I've had some experience in it, and this is actually what I want to go and do.
So after I graduated, I first went down to the UK and down to South Africa to find a school
Hmm.
that could actually guide me to what I wanted to do. So it was quite a journey that I took in terms of understanding that I needed to be in a different space,
Mm,
and that was part of my new journey into what I started at when I was 14,
yeah.
into understanding how creativity can actually explore.
Yeah. Okay. So how were your experiences? You said you went to the UK, you went to South Africa. Can you tell me a little bit about your time there?
So I wanted to try to college in the UK first of all. Then I didn't I I I didn't choose it. Then I went to Cape Town, South Africa,
Hmm.
and I went to the Advertising College of South Africa.
Oh, amazing.
Back then, this was roughly close about 17, 18 years ago,
Okay.
and I started out working. Started out learning on what creativity was and how to explore my creative mind.
Hmm.
So that for me was the beginning of my journey
Yeah.
into the creative industry and into the tech industry, because it's all encompassated in between various parts of it, that they are all joined together in terms of things that you do within the industry.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you said that, like how tech and how art are really intertwined. So, what's something that you took from that experience to help you then launch to the next step of your career of your life?
So I after graduating, I went back to Nigeria to work for an advertising agency called One Phone Worldwide,
Hmm.
which was part of the WPP group. And I started out as an art director working on the then uh, new campaign for a new telecom service provider called Etisalat.
Okay.
And it was launching, and we launched a campaign in Nigeria, and that blowed my mind into working on different brands,
Mm,
and from working on brands like Coca-Cola, British American Tobacco, and a few brands, and I now had access to be able to explore my creative thinking,
hmm.
and that I now found exactly what my calling was within the creative space.
Hmm.
So I moved from being an art director to becoming a copywriter. Then it was all moved to different parts of it. Then
Hmm.
after that, I went back to South Africa to work with a different agency
Hmm.
and explored new business.
Yeah. I love how your journey, like along the way, I feel like it's similar to people's in terms of you take one step, you figure out, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and then you take another step, you figure out what you like, what you don't like about it, and it just keeps leading you to more and more of like who you are, what you want to do, and what your calling is. So I know now that you have your own organization. Tell us a little bit about that.
So after working for about 16 years in advertising, I moved to the US. Was still working with an agency. WPP was all the agency I worked with, and I moved into an agency called WPP at Ford, and it was called GTB back then.
Hmm.
And we I was working and found out that there wasn't much people that looked like me within the industry, especially in a place like Detroit.
Hmm.
And what I now figured out was back in 2000 during the George Floyd era,
Hmm.
there was an uprise of how to create change and work uh, within agencies. And when we had a 5.7 representation,
Yeah.
especially in a place like Detroit,
Yeah.
we decided, and with a group of friends, decided to form a group called Black At.
Hmm.
We're called Black At Can because the measurement of creativity across the globe was the Can Lion. So we decided back then to actually name it black at Cannes because the representation of black people back then was quite small.
Mm.
So that's why we decided to form the creative organization, which was a non-profit.
Okay. So is it still a nonprofit? Like, how did you like come up with the formation about it?
So we have a division of the firm currently. We have the non-profit part of it,
Hmm.
and we have the profitability part of it. Now, we switched the name from becoming Black at Can to Black at, which means that we are black in every city around the world. So whether
Yeah.
be it in Sao Paulo in Brazil, or
Hmm.
be it in New York, or be it London, or be it in Tokyo, Japan, the creative people everywhere you go to. So the people in the creative space, the people in tech space
Hmm.
who are predominantly black, and their creativity, it doesn't align because of the color of their skin, but
Yeah.
because of the intellectuality that they carry. And that's where we decided to form a group where we can have not just representation but opportunities, the possibilities
Hmm.
for the sets of people.
Yeah. So this is it's a would you call it an agency as well? Like the Black at Hand, is it something where creatives gather and they share different ideas? Like what do people do once they are involved in this?
So we have a variety of arms. We started out with creatives,
Hmm.
and from creatives, for example, in North America, you have about only six chief creative officers of the big
Oh wow.
advertising agencies in the world.
Okay.
Six
Wow.
out of maybe about 200.
Hmm.
And now we decided to say, how do we create opportunities for this sets of people who are creatives?
Yeah.
That's what we started out first of all. Then we now found out that most of the people coming to us were not just creatives, they
Mm.
were brand executives.
Okay.
So we now created another arm for brand executives. We now noticed not only brand executives were in our ecosystem, but there are also people within the tech space.
Okay.
So it's an inclusion of people in the creative space, whether it be creators
Hmm.
or whether it be creatives that work in advertising, film, music,
Yeah.
or whether it be brand marketers who are CMOs,
Hmm.
who are SVPs of various of Fortune 500 firms, and we now found out that they are tech techpreneurs that also wanted to
Mm.
be part of the ecosystem. So
Yeah.
we now created all that in relation to the sets of people that we now work with,
Hmm.
where we create engagements and opportunities of bringing these people not just together, but find out what those opportunities can actually be. For example, you have a Coca-Cola and a Nike. How can they meet in a room and find out what opportunities that both brands that will be beneficial to them? And that's the idea of creating the ecosystem.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think the idea of creating opportunities, especially when you notice that there are of people that could benefit, but there hasn't really been a structure for that. So you created something to provide that structure for people, provide that ecosystem. Is that something that you've always kind of done, like create, like see something and then create something?
It's creativity is embedded in us all,
Mm-hmm.
and it all boils down to triggering what your creativity is and your creative prowess to actually exercise on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where I found where my calling was, to
Yeah.
actually bring people together and create that system. So we hold about 20 to 25 events around the world,
Okay.
and we connect with organizations that are keen to exactly what we do it, and brands who want to be part of the ecosystem to find out what those opportunities hold, not just for them individually but for their brands also in coming into the room. And that's the idea that we created and the reason that we pushed it first. And that is where my creativity came in, to find out that this was what I love to do and how
Mm.
to bring people together and connect with each other.
Absolutely love that. And you've done things not only here in the city of Detroit and across the world, that includes even Nigeria. So, can you tell me about your time creating that ecosystem between the continents?
And we only did something in Detroit majorly for the first time this year, right? We've been doing events around the world every single time. I'm like,
Oh,
whoa,
interesting.
I'm in the D,
Yeah.
right? And I've never done something in Detroit.
Okay.
And that was a trigger for us in the fact that we've never brought it home where
Mm.
Detroit is where we actually started from.
Okay.
We've done events in Lagos, for example, and doing events in Lagos, we've actually done our activation in Lagos with partners like Nigerian breweries, right? Sterling Bank,
Okay.
looking into possibilities with Access Bank
Hmm.
and a few other brands. Pinot Ricard. We actually launched the Martel building in VI
Oh wow.
in Lagos,
Hmm.
that was about a year ago,
Amazing.
and we worked in creating the ecosystem, right? And we've been noticed by the kind of work we do. We've done more than 10 events in South Africa, in Johannesburg and Cape Town. We look at possibilities we've done in Kenya, right? And across the continent, we look at how can we connect each other
Right.
and how can we do business
Hmm.
within that opportunity that each of us has.
Yeah, I love that. So when you say activations and different events that you put on, are these like more networking events? Like what's the vibe of these events?
So mostly how our events is centered around two things. One is centered around curated panel conversations that are
Okay.
needed, and two, create uh, a an event that actually bring people together in relation to having a networking event. So we do both in the
Hmm.
sense of what are the issues that face in this particular region that we can find solution and create a call to action, find out what the possibilities are. And each region we've noticed is different in its own kind. If we
Okay.
do an event in New York, right, the problems that they face in New York is different from the problems they face in Sao Paulo in Brazil.
Okay.
So most of the time we find out and do our research on what it's the need and how can we
Mm.
create possibilities that can actually solve that problem, right? That is needed in that community. That is one. Two, how can we, with the people in that community and creatives and the brand executives, find out what the possibilities are, right? The brand executives from these brands have access to RFIs and RFPs, which the creative agencies on the other side actually
Hmm.
need. So how do we create an ecosystem that results in opportunities for both of them? That the most creative work is actually gotten, and the agencies are better, the creatives are better, the brand executives get more access to what is in vogue and what is new within the creative space.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like there's so many thoughts between different levels and within different levels to make sure like people are represented, but also, people can feel like they are benefiting something, they're contributing to something, and it's like you said, it's a whole ecosystem. So can you talk about what you did in Detroit?
So like we said, we have a community of creatives and creators, and Alpha Future founder, which is Abdul, which is an amazing person, happens to be what we call what we each year we create what we call a cohort list. The cohort list is a group of executives, whether it be creatives or brand executives or creators or techpreneurs, which we work with in promoting the events, promoting accessibility of what they do, and bring party partners to support the initiatives that they do and see what we can create to help and support what we did. So what we did with Alpha Future, which we've been trying to work with them for the past few years, it's we looked at what are the possibilities to partner with them and find out how we can use parties to actually promote the Alpha Future event, which we did
Yeah.
across the country.
Hmm. I love that. I wasn't able to attend the Afrofuture, like the festive part of
It
it.
was amazing.
I know. I'm so sad I missed. I was at a wedding, but I was able to attend the pitch competition, and I feel like that was just like a great example of like it's not just a party. It is a way to give back to the communities. It's a way to pour into people. So I loved hearing the pitches. I love seeing like the different people, and I even met like really amazing people while I was there. So it was cool just to see like on different levels. Like, no, Detroit is here to stay. Detroit is it's been growing, and I love the excitement that that's coming to Detroit and has been growing here for a while. And I love the infusion of Nigerian culture, Ghanaian culture, all these different cultures across the continent. I'm Nigerian myself, so I love to see us represented in different ways. Like there's so many different aspects that we can show off the continent, but to see like the creative minds, the entrepreneurial minds, like get up there and really feel supported and feel like they are
Yeah,
being poured into and listening to. I think that was a
yeah.
great event.
Detroit is amazing. We worked with when we started back in 2020 2021. We worked with the Detroit public schools, and we worked in a system with brands like Pinterest, right? And looked into possibilities with like the Michigan State University of giving accessibility to the young minds in the city.
It's amazing.
And we noticed that the kind of mindset and brain from the city of Detroit is quite humongous, the kind of talent that is here, especially young minds.
Hmm.
So when we've worked in this city, we've seen it, and that is part of the reason we looked at how do we support the growth of black creativity in one of the blackest cities in America.
Hmm.
So our goal was looking at seeing the likes of Afrofuture grow, where we supported in the sense of ensuring that they get exposure across the country in over 10 cities. But beyond that, how can we impact the small businesses in the city and
Hmm.
grow that mindset that Detroit has bounced back in full,
Hmm.
and Detroit is growing, and create an enabling environment for people within the city
Hmm.
and the diaspora to actually come together and engage to find out what are the opportunities and the possibilities we can do, whether be it Detroit versus everybody,
Yeah.
or be it a local record label in the city,
Hmm.
right? We know the creativity that is in the city, but bringing those communities together is essential in how we see how growth
Yeah.
progresses.
I think that's amazing. I think you guys did a great job. For the little bit that I was here for, I've heard amazing things. What people were saying, they loved the like the presence throughout the time. I think people were having fun, like doing like finding the billboards of the I think David O and all these different billboards. So it's like you made it like a game too, just to engage and see different parts of the city. So it's not just a way to, come in and say like, oh, I was here, but you guys really involved the community. You really did make a great presence. So thank you for being
Thank
a
you.
part of that.
Thank you. And that's why we always like to partner with brands, and shout out to our amazing partners at Outfront Media who was willing to partner with us to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we always look at in the times where we are, especially in this country, it's essential for those who understand and give a listening ear to actually people that look like me and you to understand that the issues that we face is always good to have allies who
For
understand it,
sure.
and we can actually create a trajectory for growth.
Yeah, I love that. Was there a certain part of the Afrofuture that really stood out to you?
Ah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I had amazing fun. The musicians were amazing. I've heard them in different places before, but Detroit was quite unique to me. Whether it be Davido or Sake or Tyler ICU
Mm-hmm.
or someone else, it was quite unique. And to see Detroiters, especially those who are local, like
Mm-hmm.
T Grizzly,
Mm-hmm.
coming on stage. It
Yeah.
was quite unique to see the combination of both, and that is why we want to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see more of the integration within the city, and that automatically progresses to bring growth to the city.
Yeah, I love that. So another aspect that you've done that you work on is it Omniverse? What's the?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about Omniverse.
So, Omniverse is the biggest integration of black tech and creativity organized in West Africa.
Okay.
So it's a combination of creativity and tech coming together and bringing those tech investors and people who are in gaming to who are with agencies to understand that the universe of creativity encompasses of a lot of the little things here and there, which is whether be it you a tech startup or whether be you a game company or whether you be someone who is starting a creative shop. We can all come together and find out what are the possibilities for growth
Mm-hmm.
and bring party partners like the EU and or British Council and all organizations to come together to create an effective path
Mm-hmm.
for growth within the region of Africa. Because when we look at brands within Africa and look at technology within Africa, whether it be the input of Meta or Google or TikTok, uh, the growth trajectory is high, and that is why Africa is the new growth market, and that's
Yeah.
why brands within those industry are looking at it, and that was the reason of starting the Omniverse.
Why do you think it was important for you to start it when you did?
So
All these different organizations.
I was I've been I've been attending CAN for over 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
and for the first time, right, there wasn't much people that looked like me when I attended CAN
Mm-hmm.
maybe 10 years ago, maybe about 5, 10 people, like,
Yeah.
and apart from the help.
And this is
Uh,
what you're talking, like
yes,
Cannes, like the film
yes, CAN.
festival
No,
in
the advertising festival. There are
the
two
advertisement.
festivals
Okay.
that happen in CAN.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is the film festival,
Okay.
and the bigger one is the Lions, the CAN Lion. It's been
Interesting.
happening for, I think, over 72 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the event is made up of the biggest agencies around the world.
Mm.
And the festival also has an attendance of over 20,000 people.
Wow.
And you had maybe about 100 black people attend.
Okay. I see the issue.
And
Yeah.
when the jurors were made up of maybe about 200 jurors,
Mm.
and you had maybe about 5 black people,
Mm-hmm.
it was quite a different era.
Absolutely.
And we decided to find out what were the possibilities in relation to create change,
Mm-hmm.
because we knew some of these sets of people who were black were winning awards, but they didn't have access to be to do that. The most important thing within the creative industry is accessibility.
Okay.
So winning a Cannes Lion for creative is like winning an Oscar for an actor,
Okay.
right? So you win a Cannes Lion,
Mm-hmm.
you get a better opportunity for a job,
Right.
you get a better pay raise, you get so much accessibility, whether it be it an agency
Mm-hmm.
or whether it be an individual. So we saw the value in relation to creating the ecosystem, and we work with the CAN team
Mm-hmm.
to see how we can cause change. And from having about maybe 5 jurors, increased from 21, 22 when the word opened up, to about maybe about 20, from 20 to about
Wow.
to about 30,
Moving.
30 to about 40.
Mm-hmm.
So we now have an attendance of over 1,000 black people
Oh,
attending CAN,
good. Okay.
to 2,000 black people attending CAN, from about having 100 to 200.
That's
So
like 5 years.
so within 5 years.
Wow.
So the projection of the idea was, CAN is a space where brands go make deals.
Yeah.
So by 2 a.m. in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
Nike and Adidas are in a meeting with each other and find out what the possibilities they can make. So
Okay.
why are we not in the place where the deals are being made for the
Absolutely.
entirety of the next year or 5 years to come?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the essence of Can Land, because the creative industry,
Mm-hmm.
right, whether it be tech, whether it be advertising, the biggest brands are there. So that is why we saw the need, and very, very vital to make it happen, because it's the mecca of the creative industry and the tech industry to actually be part of it.
Mm-hmm. I see. And then why was it important for you to start Omniverse then too?
So, Omniverse, I was brought in
Omniverse. Let me say that right.
as a co-chair,
Okay.
as a steering chair. It was done by Charles, and a few friends of mine, and they told me about the opportunity and why it was important, and decided to be part of it, because it was quite a unique idea that West Africa hadn't seen. And that is why it's very vital, because we are in a tech space where we're currently still having issues on creators not having accessibility to payment platforms.
Yeah.
And that has become a problem, where how do you create an entirety of an ecosystem where someone is having 2 million followers, right? And he can actually have the process to monetize his content.
Yeah.
And that is where we are working in relation to what are the opportunities to create an effective system that happens in other parts of the world. And that is part of the reason for the likes of the Omniverse to actually come in, to bring the brands in, to find out how to create solutions, to bring the banks in, to find out all the solutions that can be done for creators and creatives within that region.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I see a theme throughout your life of seeing something and creating something and creating that ecosystem, and you can't do it alone. Like you find different people to help you along the way to create that and make it strong and make it lasting. Can you tell me about some of the issues or challenges that you faced in creating any of these organizations?
Usually the general one. It's one, it's people understanding the vision of what the idea is,
Mm-hmm.
and two, the idea is usually a plan that people cannot see initially,
Yeah.
which actually tends to create a longer time for people to actually grasp it and not to understand that this is not just about a party, right?
Yeah.
We're not creating an event to just party. We're creating an ecosystem, and it's going to be a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And those were the hurdles for people to understand it. But those that get it,
Mm-hmm.
stick with it. So that's one of our major hurdles. Two, usually with the brands understanding that we're not trying to do a DEI event, but we're just trying to create impacts that will be
For sure.
beneficial to the brand.
Mm-hmm.
We can understand that from the likes of Costco within America,
Yeah.
understanding and taking a stand.
Mm-hmm.
That brands need to understand where the alliance lies and with their target audience and the emerging market within the industries that they operate in. So that is what we try to do with it, and that is part of the problem for those brands to understand that we are trying to not just create a network or system,
Mm-hmm.
but create a valuation for your business to actually grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does Omniverse and Black Egg Can, how do they interact, or do they ever interact?
So for events, we partner together
Okay.
and we partner to create a system in place. Like in a few weeks, we are in New York. Like I said, we're doing a series of events during the UN, and part of it is to actually join to find out what those possibilities for Miniverse, and partner with other parties that are willing to partner with, whether be it Afrotech or whether be it just create the ecosystem in place. And whether be it another organization down in South America. But our major goal is to create a holistic system between global partners and
Mm-hmm.
find out how we can actually resolve in having a workflow that will be effective in growth for people within the continent and those in diaspora.
Or what are some things that you have coming up?
So currently, we currently working with the Nigerian government. Currently, part of what we do
Mm-hmm.
in a new council called the Creative Council of the Future,
Okay.
and that is to create, especially in country like Nigeria, to create a new guide system for the industry in the creative space
Mm-hmm.
in the Ministry of Arts and Culture, right? And two, to actually create systems that will be effective for the tech industry to
Mm-hmm.
actually grow. And three, find out those global organizations that are willing to actually partner and grow the industry, because the Nigerian creative industry is running into about $300 billion. But
Wow.
how do we effectively monetize this and grow this
Mm-hmm.
and create an impactful system for the 250 plus million Nigerians currently? And
Absolutely.
how do we create equity for the government and for growth within the system? And that's why we decided to be part of it when we are called on by the government. So that's part of what we're doing. Currently, we're working to showcase, like I said, Nigeria. We're working in a few weeks where we're working at the UN General Assembly. Part of what we do, like we said, we create experiences and opportunities for engagement
Mm-hmm.
at global events. And part of the global events that we do, we're working with the UN General Assembly. We're working at the UN General Assembly, sorry, to create an event
Mm-hmm.
called, which we call the bigger picture, just like we did in Detroit.
Amazing.
And we're doing the same thing for the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing similar at Davos. Next year, we're going to
Wow.
be in Davos for the second year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And we work to find out not just Nigeria per se, how do we create an ecosystem for the continent, right?
Right.
For countries like Rwanda, Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, and all those other countries, to emerge them to find out the growth potential of what tech is, of what creativity is, and to find out that the major currency in within the nearest future is not just oil per se, but we're looking at AI,
Yeah.
we're looking at tech. How do we become part and parcel of the fact that our continent is bound to be the biggest. How do we become partakers of this and become leaders in this aspect of the future and not just become receivers of it, because it boils down to intellect and create infrastructures in place across the continent for growth.
Yeah.
And that's what our vision is, whether it be with the AU or whether it be with the diaspora, to understand that there's a merger together for growth, and how we can all bring this together is what our plan is.
Yeah, I love that. You hear this man? He's busy. Okay, so make sure you follow along. But I do want to talk about like your appointment. Tell me like how that even came about. Were you looked at? Like I don't know, how did people come to you for that?
So the, the Ministry of Arts and Culture, right, which I've been working with for the past 2 years in terms of how can we showcase Nigerian creativity globally. And we worked on various programs, right? And the minister was part of our event in Lagos about a year ago, and we wanted to showcase Nigerian creativity, which we're doing in Cannes Lion next year, and showcase Nigerian creativity to the global world, where we bring those global brands to understand the set opportunities, not from a continental base, from a global space, to what Nigeria, which is the leading country in terms of numbers in the continent, how do we showcase that? And that's where I was brought on by the director of the ministry, Obiasika, to understand how can we bring all the sets of people together, and how can we create a program that we can create a white paper for the presidency within a few months to actually work on and create an effective system that will take Nigerians' growth within the tech space, because from what we believe in, it's the country needs it.
Yeah.
And how do we now create it and create a pathway for that growth? And that's why I was one of the people that was brought in.
That's amazing. So with the Ministry of Arts and Culture, is there any replication from any of your previous work and how you've created ecosystems there that you're now using for this role as well?
So we have subcommittees which are definitely working on, which I can't talk much about right now.
Yeah.
But we are focused on creating a path which will use some of my expertise that I've worked with in the past, and that will definitely be used to engage with global brands, create that accessibility from a global perspective, and we're working locally with local partners on how we can create a trajectory for growth for the Nigerian creative economy.
Yeah, I love it. I love anything that's going to move the country forward, move people forward across the world. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you very
I
much.
know you are busy, so thank you again
Thank you very much
for coming
having
on.
me.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the best way that if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
The best way is via Black Hat. You can check out our social handles on Black Hat Can on Instagram or LinkedIn. And that's the best way to actually start engaging with us. But to find out what the possibilities are. But if you are, or you can check us at blackatcan.org and drop us an email. But the bottom line we're trying to do is how do we create an ecosystem for possibilities for everyone who actually is in the continent or in the diaspora, and that's what our goal is.
Yeah.
Bringing us together and effectively use what we have to get where we need to go to, because we're not there yet. But we on the right path.
You're on the right path. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. There's so much going on, and there's so many different ways that you can get involved and really explore your talents, whether it's in tech, whether it's in art, whether it's in something else. You really can find your place in a lot of these different spaces. So I hope you're inspired. I hope you follow. I hope you share. I hope you comment, ask questions below, and I hope to see you at the next episode of White Pack. Thank you.